A challenge based on hunger and thirst. This is definitely a survival program. The most thrilling outdoor experience in the world. They drop a man and a woman, complete strangers, into remote wilderness areas, across the globe. No food or water is provided, not even clothes, so they must survive on their own, for 21 days. If they overcome the challenge, they will receive a prize of USD 100,000. Would you dare to try it? In the pristine forest in northern Gratia, this area is a hunting ground for bears and wolves. It's also home to countless venomous snakes. The harsh weather often brings fierce storms. It's currently the rainy season. This area is constantly ravaged by flash floods. Lee, 24 years old from Bordeaux, the land of wine, is currently a trainee firefighter. She joined this challenge to prove that women can also be independent. Her unique job has given her a resilient personality. She often camps alone in remote areas, but this is the first time she has to survive in such a harsh environment. Bascan, 48 years old, from Paris, France, is a graphic designer. He loves extreme sports and participates in marathons every year. He often finishes last in the rankings because he sees nature as a playground and wants to challenge himself further, especially to win the luxury yacht he dreams of. After the two are brought to the location by boat, their clothes are taken away. They meet at a stream. Lai says, "You're much older than me." Bascan calmly responds, "Don't look at the advertisement, look at the results." Their supplies consist only of a knife, a lighter, a pot, and a map provided by the program. According to the map, they must trek 5 kilometers through the forest to reach an open area by the river and set up camp there. On the way, they wade through water very slowly to avoid mosquito bites. Both cover themselves in mud. Bascan isn't afraid of mosquitoes and takes the opportunity to gather plenty of wild fruits, making a strong impression on Lai. After crossing the river, they arrive at an open area by the riverbank and quickly set up camp under a large tree. That evening, Lai successfully starts a fire, but thirst forces them to boil leaves for drinking water. That night, strong winds and a sudden drop in temperature leave them shivering. The next day, both are sleep-deprived, and their spirits are low. Bascan is worried that flooding might occur in the nearby river, so he sets up a warning marker. Lai prepares to deal with heavy rain, fearing that a big rain could cause a flood. She hurriedly reinforces the camp again, but soon after, she collapses from exhaustion and falls asleep in the camp. At that moment, Bascan spots a venomous snake approaching and quickly wakes her up. Terrified, Lai doesn't dare sleep again and goes to the riverbank to set up a stone trap to catch fish. On the third day, after a sleepless night, both are in worse spirits. Lai can't take it anymore and breaks down crying. Though Bascan's body is also very weak, he decides to go out to find food for Lai. However, after searching for a while, he finds nothing. Disappointed when the fish trap proves ineffective, Bascan returns to the camp and makes a fishing rod to try fishing. He patiently fishes from noon to evening but still catches nothing. The two venture deeper into the forest, searching, and luckily catch a few small frogs. They quickly clean and roast them over the fire to eat. Though the taste is awful, to them, it's the best meal they've had after 3 days of hunger. By the 7th day, both are still surviving on frog meat, but they discover that the frog population nearby has been depleted. Fortunately, Bascan finds a cherry tree, and both excitedly pick and eat the cherries on the spot. However, they get so caught up that by the time they return to camp, the fire has gone out. Lai tries to restart the fire but fails after several attempts, and her mood becomes increasingly irritable. Bascan worries that Lai might give up, so he constantly encourages her. After more than an hour of persistence, Lai finally manages to start the fire. But the joy is short-lived as heavy rain suddenly pours down, leaving them soaked all night. On the 8th day, the heavy rain overnight completely floods the camp. The two have to relocate the camp, but Lai's spirit collapses. She breaks down crying again and considers giving up. Bascan rebuilds the camp alone, which gradually helps Lai calm down. By the 9th day, both are bitten by mosquitoes all night and can't sleep, and the fire goes out again. They return to the previous campsite and find that the water has receded. After failing to restart the fire, Lai breaks down once more. Bascan patiently encourages her for half a day until she calms down and manages to start the fire again. Lai luckily finds several small fish stranded by the riverbank, immediately roasts them, and they share the meal. In the following days, the temperature drops sharply along with cold rain and wind, leaving both in a state of despair. They can only struggle to keep the fire going to survive. By the 15th day, they are trembling from the cold, and the fire goes out again. On the 16th day, Lee realizes that she has survived this long thanks to Bascan. So, she resolves not to let Bascan's sacrifices go to waste. By the 20th day, Bascan, exhausted, begins to experience physical issues, even hallucinating and losing consciousness. However, according to the map, They need to build a wooden raft to navigate 10 kilometers of dangerous underground river currents. This is also a life-threatening challenge for them. They spend an entire day completing the raft. On the final day, both pack up their belongings, board the raft, and set off. After navigating countless rapids, they finally spot the kayak coming to pick them up. Both have completed the Wilderness Survival Challenge after 21 days of extreme deprivation. Bascan loses 10 kilo, while Lai loses 9 kilo. The challenge ends here. This is undoubtedly the harshest survival program in the world. Participants, a man and a woman who are complete strangers, are dropped into the most remote regions across the globe with no food, no water, and not even clothes, to fend for themselves for 21 days. If they succeed, they will receive a USD 10,000 prize. On the Malaysian peninsula, near the Thai border, there is an ancient tropical rainforest, with annual rainfall exceeding 3,000 mm, creating a humid, wet environment that is home to many species. Among them are blood-sucking leeches and black mosquitoes that carry malaria. The most terrifying are the Malayan tigers and leopards, with their strong territorial instincts, sharp teeth, and razor-sharp claws that can tear flesh with a single swipe. This dense forest is also home to thousands of plant species, many of which contain dangerous toxins and bacteria. Particularly notable is the Malaysian coral snake, dubbed the 100-step snake due to its deadly neurotoxic venom, which even king cobras cannot rival. In such a perilous forest, two challengers refuse to give in and embark on an adventure. Karen, 33 years old, is a doctor with a firefighting team. The nature of his job has trained him to remain calm. Over the past 15 years, he has continuously undergone rigorous survival training and is particularly skilled at adapting to wilderness environments. After years of honing his skills, this time he is determined to prove his mettle and see if what he has learned can withstand the challenge. Bilson, 38 years old, is a survival instructor and a single mother. After her divorce 2 years ago, she has been raising her 2 daughters on her own in difficult circumstances. Life has become increasingly hectic and challenging. She joined this program to improve her life. A small yacht brings the two to their location and takes away their tattered clothes. They meet in a thicket, and after a brief introduction, they begin checking their survival tools, a small knife and a lighter. The map shows they have been dropped at a riverbank completely surrounded by pristine forest. They need to trek through the dense jungle to reach their campsite at the end of the journey. The two walk all afternoon, encountering heavy rain, and must continue moving in the rain to survive the night. After more than 3 hours, they reach a bamboo forest as night falls and start setting up camp in humid conditions full of insects, which makes Bilson uncomfortable. By late afternoon, they are still busy preparing. That night, the two lie in their unfinished camp praying it doesn't rain, but heavy rain comes and soaks them. The next morning, fearing more heavy rain, they get to work urgently. Karen injures his finger in the rush. They continue working in the rain and drink rainwater from leaves. The rain persists for a full day and night, causing Bilson to lose body heat and quickly face the risk of hypothermia. Karen helps Bilson stay warm with physical exercises. By the afternoon, the camp is finally completed, but the rain continues for several days, leaving them unable to do anything but stay in the camp. The cold makes Bilson reluctant to go to the bathroom. By the 6th day, she is in pain from hunger and her spirits plummet. On the 8th day, they decide to go out to find food because they don't want to be carried out on a stretcher. While searching, Bilson spots a snake and calls Karen over. They discover 4 more venomous Malaysian coral snakes. In a fit of frustration, Karen doesn't care about the danger and swings his knife to take down the prey. Back at camp, he immediately starts a fire in the rain because snake meat cannot be eaten raw and will spoil within 24 hours. However, after many attempts, they still can't get the fire going. By the 9th day, the heavy rain finally stops. Bilson takes advantage of the sunshine to dry their belongings, while Karen carves wood to gather tinder for storage. In the afternoon, he gathers materials to start a fire but still fails. With no other option, they watch their food spoil wastefully. On the 10th day, Karen reluctantly discards the spoiled snake. With no food, Bilson's will to survive weakens. In the afternoon, Karen searches for bamboo in the forest but finds nothing, not even water. That night, both go hungry and thirsty while being attacked by insects, unable to sleep. On the 11th day, Bilson's body is covered in mosquito bites, and her mood becomes even more lethargic. Karen can only watch helplessly as she struggles internally. To encourage her, he tries to start a fire again and luckily succeeds. In the afternoon, he goes to the stream to catch fish and quickly catches one. but he discovers the fish is infected with a virus and cannot be eaten, so he has to throw it away. On the 15th day, to survive, they are forced to eat insects they find in the wild by the 21st day. Karen finds a cluster of mushrooms, and despite Bilson's warning that they might be dangerous, he eats them raw. Initially, there are no unusual symptoms, but on the 16th day, Karen suddenly develops a high fever of 40 degrees, with his blood pressure and heart rate dropping rapidly. The program team quickly lowers his fever by soaking him in the stream. Once his condition stabilizes, the medical staff brings him back to camp and warns that if the fever returns, he will be forced to leave. By the 18th day, although Karen's health improves, he is still very weak. Bilson has to prepare the means of evacuation alone. Fortunately, there is plenty of bamboo, and she gathers 10 stalks, tying them together to quickly form a raft. But due to exhaustion, she relies solely on willpower to continue. On the final day of the challenge, Karen no longer has the strength to stand. He struggles to make it to the riverbank to prepare to leave. According to the map, the two must travel 6 kilometers upstream to complete the journey. Both are exhausted and must cling to the raft, moving slowly. After more than 4 hours in the water, they finally see the small yacht coming to pick them up. They have completed the challenge. In 21 days, surviving only on insects, Karen loses 14 kilos and Bilson loses 10 kilos. This challenge concludes here. Joining this program means you can only starve to survive if you don't find food. This is undoubtedly the most dramatic outdoor survival program in the world. They bring a man and a woman, complete strangers, to the most remote places on Earth with no food, no water, and not even clothes, forcing them to survive for 21 days. If they succeed, they will receive a USD 100,000 prize. In Gratia, there is the largest pristine forest in Europe. Though it looks peaceful on the surface, it is extremely dangerous because it is home to many bears, wolves, wild boars, countless venomous snakes, and toxic insects. The mosquitoes here not only carry toxins, but also transmit many diseases. In the dense, lightless forest, there are countless poisonous plants and deadly mushrooms. The most terrifying thing is the weather. Sudden storms often cause frequent flash floods. Daytime temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius, but at night they drop sharply. Surviving in such harsh conditions is a near impossible challenge for humans. Sarah, 33 years old, is a somewhat famous actress who has loved thrills since childhood. She often goes camping in water and electricity-scarce areas with her family. Although she doesn't have much survival experience, she is very optimistic. Her acting career is currently at a standstill, and she joined this program hoping to find a personal rebirth. Robin, in his 20s, from France, is a professional survival instructor, so he is highly skilled in starting fires and crafting survival tools. His reason for joining the program, like other survival instructors, is to test the practicality of the survival skills he has learned in real-world scenarios. An old truck brings the two to the location and takes their clothes away. After getting off the truck, the two meet in the dense forest. At their first meeting, Sarah is impressed by Robin's tall, imposing figure, but Robin finds her quiet and somewhat reserved. For this survival challenge, Sarah brings an axe, while Robin, oddly, brings a piece of cowhide. Sarah doesn't understand what the cowhide is for and immediately feels hopeless. Luckily, the program provides a stainless steel pot, or she would have lost her mind. According to the map, they need to walk 5 kilometers through dense forest to reach a water source. As they set out, they are painfully scratched by nettles. Robin doesn't pay much attention and collects usable resources along the way. After 4 hours of walking, they arrive and immediately set up camp under a large rock. But not long after, Robin busies himself with starting a fire, which takes until evening to complete. That night, the two sit by the fire in their unfinished camp, trying to get through a cold night. The next morning, after a sleepless night due to the cold, Sarah goes to the stream to boil water, and they share it. Robin selects a flat piece of land and decides to build a new shelter, but despite working all day, it's still not finished. The result of the day's work is that Sarah gets multiple thorns stuck in her feet, causing her to cry from the pain. To keep her from giving up early, Robin cuts the cowhide to make shoes for her. Once the shoes are made, Sarah's mood stabilizes. That night, the two must endure the cold again, and a wild boar suddenly charges into the camp, making them scream in fear. On the third day, Sarah, severely sleep-deprived, sleeps all day. Meanwhile, Robin, after 2 days and nights without food, goes to find something to eat but only manages to gather a few wild fruits. After eating, he sets traps to catch more food, but trouble keeps coming as a heavy midday rain leaves them both freezing. The prolonged rain causes the evening temperature to drop sharply, forcing them to endure another cold night. On the 5th day, they decide to repair the shelter because they can't continue to endure hunger and cold. But despite their efforts, Sarah is still brought to tears by the cold wind all night. On the morning of the sixth day, Robin goes to chop more wood to help Sarah stay warm, but she, exhausted and hungry, just lies in the camp, doing nothing. Robin has no choice but to patiently encourage her. Not long after, Sarah can't take it anymore and decides to quit. But after running off for a short while, she returns and decides to continue the challenge. On the seventh day, the low temperature prevents them from doing much. In the following days, they only maintain minimal activity. Robin tries to find food, but aside from some unpalatable wild fruits, he finds nothing. On the 15th day, after 2 weeks of surviving on just wild fruits, both are completely exhausted. Robin peels tree bark, grinds it into powder, and makes it into baked cakes to eat temporarily. Though it's hard to eat, it's still better than lying there waiting to starve. By the 20th day, they start preparing to leave the forest, trying to find more food, but only managing to pick a few raspberries. On the final day, they pack up their belongings and begin the journey to leave the forest. According to the map, they must cross 5 kilometers of dense forest terrain, hills, and complicated paths to reach the extraction point. The arduous journey takes 6 to 7 hours, but they finally see the rescue team coming to pick them up. Sarah and Robin have completed the 21-day challenge of starving in the forest, surviving only on wild fruits. After 3 weeks, Sarah loses 7 kills and Robin loses 10 kills. This challenge ends here. Please give me a subscription, everyone. See you in the next episode.